One day late, but it's time for the Chicago Public League playoffs. Round number 1 as Lane Tech looks to sweep the season series against the Schurz Bulldogs. It's a 3 versus 6 matchup to open up the Public League playoffs, tipping off in just over 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Alex Burstein, above the court here at Lane Gymnasium. Pretty quiet crowd here early on tonight, but we'll be getting ready to go in just a couple of minutes as Lane Tech looks to beat Schurz for the second time this season. The first time they played, it was a big victory for Lane Tech. That game was over up the street on Addison against the Bulldogs in the final from that one. It was a big win for Lane Tech, 77-36. I think that might be the biggest win all season long for Lane Tech. A 41-point victory for Lane in that one. Shahid Salibo had a career high of 17. Since then, he's gone more than that, but at the time, it was a career high. So expect some big things against Salibo in that one. And Schurz, they're just going to have to find some formula to beat the Lane Tech they've not had recently. The last time these two teams played at Lane, it was last year, 56-44, the victory, a 12-point win for Lane Tech. That was almost a year ago during the shortened 2021 spring season. 12-point win for Lane. It looked as if they could have won by more, but they were not able to do it, but they still got the victory against the Bulldogs. This is one of the last Red Northwest opponents Schurz is going to face off against as a member of this conference, at least for this year. Schurz finishing last in the conference, and they will be going down to the White North next season, where they were 2 years ago. They won a bunch of games, went up to the Red. Last year they were last in the conference, but no regulation or promotion, so they were able to stay up, and now they are back down to the White after finishing conference play just 1-8. It's a 6-18 overall record for Schurz so far this season. It's been a rough go around for the Bulldogs. Tonight they are also without one of their star players, the leading scorer last time for Schurz against Lane Tech. 10 points from Monier Bell, the 6'5 junior forward. He will not be playing tonight for the Bulldogs, not here. And so he will not be playing tonight, and that is a big loss for the Bulldogs. They'll have to find some scoring in other ways. 2 possible places, number 2, J.J. Knighton, and number 3, J.G. Abraham. Both of those are juniors. This is a young team, so we could see them make it back up to the Red in 2 years, and then probably same problem will happen with not having any guys, not having a lot of the guys who help them get up to the Red. It's actually going to be a very interesting White North next season. We'll probably talk about that a little more later in the broadcast. But JJ and JG, Knighton and Abraham will likely be leading the scoring tonight for the Bulldogs. 6 points last time for Knighton, 8 points for Abraham, a draft transfer. Those two have been pretty decent so far this year. It just really has not translated the wins for the Bulldogs. As you mentioned, 6-18. They have not won a game since January 7th. So it has now been almost a month, plus or minus 4 days or so, but they've gone almost a month without getting a win in the win column. That last game was a 48-47 win against Marshall. That was their last win. So that was their only conference win of the year. That was actually a pretty impressive victory. Marshall is going down as the second team going down. However, they've had some interesting results. They beat Lane Tech, so if you want to look at head-to-head, Schurz was able to beat Marshall. Lane Tech was not, but overall, Lane Tech looks to be the heavy favorite heading into this one. Nothing like a bracket in the spring/winter. Not exactly March Madness, but we have some February Madness with the Chicago Public League Boys Basketball Tournament. We'll take you through the bracket. There's been a couple of changes, so I just want to make sure we have everything 100% right. All the Red Northwest teams in it. How it works is top 10 all 10 in the Red Northwest and the Red South Central are automatically in the tournament, and then the top 3 from all of the 4 white conferences make it. So a 32-team tournament. Supposed to be the first round yesterday, however, that got messed up due to the snow. They delayed all the games to today, and then tomorrow it'll actually be another round of games. So back-to-back games for many of these schools. Lane Tech hoping to get back-to-back. They will have likely a matchup at Curie against the Condors tomorrow night. That will be a very tough matchup. Curie ranked top 10 in the area. They have been very impressive this season, have not lost a lot of games against local teams, and Lane Tech will hope to do that, but that will be a tough matchup. But first, Lane Tech will have to get past the Bulldogs tonight. As we mentioned, an over 40-point victory the last time these two teams played, but can't play it too safe in the city playoffs. Win or go home. This is the second of two playoffs Lane Tech will be competing in. Obviously, the less important of the two, they'd rather go long in state than city. However, if they can have a good city run, that will be a big boost to their momentum heading into the state playoffs. They have a few games in between, but this is mostly the lead up to state. Now, as we said, we'll take you through the brackets. Starting off in the top left-hand quarter, it'll be Whitney Young taking on Mather tonight. All these games are projected to start at 5 p.m. I know a couple teams moved them to 6:30. This game's a 5 p.m. tip-off, but either 5 or 6:30, but it'll be Whitney Young taking on Mather, Phillips taking on Prosser. That's a good matchup. Phillips is going down, Prosser's coming up. We'll see them next year in the Red Northwest. That will be an opponent for Lane Tech. So those two teams play for a chance to likely play Whitney Young in the second round. Marshall, North Lawndale, that's a fun matchup. North Lawndale obviously the favorite, but a good Red Northwest battle. Diet taking on Hyde Park, and that will close out the top left part of the bracket. In the bottom left-hand quarter, it'll be Kenwood taking on Hubbard. Kenwood definitely one of the favorites heading into this week's tournament. Lincoln Park against Lindblom. That was a changed game. It was originally going to be Farragut against Lindblom. Now the Lions get to face off against them, and that's definitely an upset possibility. It's a 4-5 matchup. Lincoln Park's the 4 seed, but Lindblom, they've been very strong this year. They will be in the they'll be in the red next season, not in Lane's conference, but in the other one, the South Central. But definitely that's a game to watch out for tonight, and that's one of the games, I believe, tipping off at 6:30. Then it'll be Brooks taking on Corliss, Austin taking on Orr to close out the bottom left-hand part of the bracket. And then on the right side, the tournament favorite, I think you could say, definitely possibly my pick to win it all this over the next week or so. Simeon taking on Agricultural Science. AG Science, they've been good this year. They started the season very hot. It'll definitely be tough for them to face off against a team like Simeon, but that would be a major 8-1 upset. Farragut's going to take on Perspectives LT. Both of the Perspective teams winning their conferences and will be headed up towards the red next year. Farragut going just stays up. It originally looked like they were going to go down. Instead, they are the last team to stay up in Lane Tech's conference. Marshall will be going down next year. Morgan Park will take on Bogan tonight, and Taft will take on Westinghouse to close out the top right of the bracket. Taft was really close. It looked as if we were going to have some rivalry hoops in the Red Northwest next year. However, it does not get done as Taft falls in the conference championship to Prosser, and instead they are the 2 seed in the white headed into the postseason. In the final quadrant of the bracket, the bottom right, it'll be Clark taking on Payton in a 1-8 matchup. Longwood taking on Perspectives IITT, the other Perspective teams who will be playing next year. Perspectives IIT will actually be in the Red Northwest with Lane Tech, so that's the other new opponent for Lane next season. Then there's our game right here, Lane taking on Schurz in a 3-6 matchup, and then Curie taking on Dunbar in a 2-7 matchup. Curie will be hosting that one, and they're the heavy favorite for that one. If Lane Tech, who's the heavy favorite in this one, wins, we will see a Curie versus Lane Tech matchup tomorrow evening. 2:20 to go until tip-off here at Lane Gymnasium, so we're going to get your starting lineups. First off, with the visiting Schurz Bulldogs. As we mentioned, they are without Bell tonight, number 1, one of their top players. They'll hope to get some production from a couple other guys. Number 2, Deshaun Knighton, the junior point guard. J.J. Knighton, who, as he goes by, will be getting the start, coming off a 6-point performance against Lane last time. Number 3, J.G. Abraham, the 5'8 junior point guard. 2 point guards in the starting lineup for this team. Also gets the start for the Bulldogs. He was really impressive. 8 points last time against Lane Tech. Cortez Harris, the 5'9 junior point guard / small forward. I'm guessing he'll be playing more in that small forward spot tonight. Gets the start to go along with number 21, Ethan Arroyo, the junior small forward, and number 23, TJ Jones, the 6'2 junior forward. He had 16 last year against Lane Tech. That was a lot more than any Schurz player scored against Lane Tech to start off this one.
So we'll see if he can have another big game. That's really what the Bulldogs are going to need to compete against Lane Tech in this one. He was a big contributor as a sophomore. He's been a little quieter this year, but he's had some big games, had 12 in that win against Marshall, and the Bulldogs are going to need a big performance from him tonight. As for Lane Tech, they're back to their normal starting five after a slightly different one on senior night last Friday. It'll be number 1, Sean Malloy, the 6'3 senior, getting the start to go along with number 5, Ethan Grunebaum, who returns to the starting lineup. He was in the starting lineup, but only played for a minute on Friday. He's back and recovered from an injury. And then there'll be number 22, number 23, and number 24, Shahid Solibo, the 6'3 sophomore, Stephen Goonan, the 6'1 senior, and Lucas Basil, the 6'6 senior, the final 3 starters for Lane Tech. I believe we're going to have the flags and the national anthem for the Lane Tech JROTC to start this one in just a couple of seconds. So we'll turn it over for the national anthem. We'll be back to run through the starting lineups one more time, and then it's time for some playoff basketball here at Lane Gymnasium. Lane Tech and Schurz, as Lane looks to win their second game this season against the Bulldogs and get into the second round of the city playoffs. We'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech basketball on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. It's time for basketball here at Lane Tech. First round of the Chicago Public League Tournament. They're going through the starting lineups on the court, so we'll go through them once again here on our broadcast. For the Schurz Bulldogs, they'll be number 2, J.J. Knighton, number 3, J.G. Abraham, number 15, Cortez Harris, number 21, Ethan Arroyo, and number 23, T.J. Jones getting to start for the Bulldogs. Their head coach, James Shelton Jr. For Lane Tech, they're back to their normal starting lineup tonight after some changes on Friday. It'll be number 1, Sean Malloy, number 5, Ethan Grunebaum, number 22, Shahid Solibo, number 23, Stephen Goonan, and number 24, Lucas Basil getting to start tonight for Lane Tech, dressed in their home whites for tonight's matchup. 8 minutes on the clock, and then we'll have tip-off here at Lane Gymnasium for the first game of the Chicago Public League playoffs. A lot of games are getting started here at 5 p.m., so I don't know which one officially will kick off the playoffs, but Lane Tech, one of the first tip-offs here on Thursday night to start off back-to-back days of basketball here in the Chicago Public League Varsity Tournament. Music playing in the circle to start things off. It'll be Lucas Basil, per usual, for Lane Tech, dressed in their home white uniforms, brazed with green. And for the Schurz Bulldogs, it looks like it'll be TJ Jones, number 23, to take the tip for the Bulldogs. Schurz in their all-black away jerseys with gold and purple lettering. Ref holding the basketball, 8 minutes on the clock, and we're just about ready for tip-off here at Lane Gymnasium. Winner to advance to the second round, where they will likely take on the Curie Condors, and that will likely be an away game for whoever wins this one. Ball's up, and that's won by Schurz, despite having the big height disadvantage. Jones gets up there, and the Bulldogs will have the first chance to score here tonight. 7:50 on the clock here early on. Arroyo gets it here to Harris. Back to Harris. Harris looks like he's been a promising player this year, but this will be an early turnover almost by Lane Tech. Saliba looked like he had it. Instead, it will be a jump ball. So possession goes to Lane Tech, but obviously they would have liked to score to start that one off. Instead, it will be a jump ball. Excuse me, not score. They would have rather had a clean turnover. Instead, they will just get it off of a jump ball. Ethan Grunebaum, returning from an injury, passes it off to Sean Malloy. Lane Tech with 3 guards in the lineup to start things off tonight, as Salibo thinks about the 3. Instead, will pass it to Malloy. Malloy driving towards the baseline. He coughs that one up. Schurz playing aggressively early on, and they will miss the chance to have the first points of the day. However, heading to the line to shoot 2. Looks like it will be number 2, J.J. Knighton, the junior point guard. He's had a couple of big games this year. Hit double digits twice against Northtown and Collins earlier this season. And he will miss the first one. Foul was called on Ethan Grunebaum, the first foul of this afternoon for either team, as the second free throw no good as well on the air ball. So Schurz had the chance to score on a layup, can't get it, gets fouled, and then missed both of the free throws from Knighton there. And obviously, if you're the Bulldogs, you come in as the underdog, and you're going to want to convert on those easy chances. Now Lane Tech with a chance to score for the first time tonight. A minute gone in the first period of play. Malloy gets it inside to Basil. Basil's going to have the big height advantage tonight, and he has the quick 2 to start things off. Malloy likes to take it himself, but decided to get it inside to Basil instead. As we mentioned, Bell, the 6'5 player for Schurz, not playing tonight. And instead, it will be Lane Tech with the biggest player, as the quick 2 good there from Jones. I think Basil would have had the height advantage even if he was playing by an inch or 2, but now with him out, Basil's going to be the true big man on the court at all times, and when he's out, it'll probably be Parker Springer as the tallest player on the court, as Grunebaum pulls for 3, can't get it to go. 2-2 early on here, 6:20 to go in the first quarter of play. Knighton holding it, missed those 2 free throws earlier on, but Schurz was able to recover. Apologies, folks. Just refreshing the scoreboard here. Now it should be good, as Malloy's going to force a steal. Turnovers have been a big part of Lane Tech's game plan just about every single game this season, as Basil gets fouled going in, and he will head to the line. I believe they called it shooting. No, they're going to say it's on the ground. So it'll be the first foul called tonight on the Schurz Bulldogs. Lane Tech will inbound it underneath the basket. Saliba wide open. A beautiful screen there from Grunebaum to get him open. However, missing the 3. Now Schurz on a fast break. Harris driving. He's going to get pushed out of bounds, and they will call a foul. So a couple of early fouls here from Lane Tech, as Will Rosenkrantz will check in a moment. The first sub of the game for either team. That was the second foul on Grunebaum, so he exits with early foul trouble. Was unable to get a lot of minutes due to injury on Friday. Didn't play against Whitney Young, and now he heads to the bench early on here tonight due to foul trouble. As driving in, tries to get the 2 to go, but won't get it. There from Harris. Rosenkrantz wide open down low, but Lane Tech will slow down their offense. Rosenkrantz pulls for 3 and gets it. An immediate impact there from Will Rosenkrantz after checking into the game, and Lane Tech up by 3 ball here with under 5.5 to play in the first quarter. Lane Tech really blew Schurz out to in the first matchup of this one, but it was a slow first quarter. If there's one thing I really remember from that game, it looked as if the Bulldogs might have an upset brewing at the end of 8. It ended up being a big Lane Tech win. However, the Bulldogs can definitely hang with Lane for at least a quarter. They'll be hoping to do it for all 4 here as Arroyo pulls for 3 off the mark. Down low, gain the 2 to go, though. Is Jones there? Right place, right time. And now a 5-4 Lane Tech lead. Just a 1-point differential between these two teams with 4:45 to go in quarter number 1. Basil playing it from the perimeter. That's interesting. Even with the height advantage for Lane Tech, they still have him playing from the perimeter as Salibo goes in, can't get it. Tip in, no good. I'm not sure who had the last fingertips on that, Goonan or Salibo. Won't matter, though, as the Bulldogs will get it back. Jones passes it out. The 2 from Knighton. He gets on the scoreboard. First points of the night from J.J. Knighton, and it's a 6-5 Schurz lead. Bulldogs lead for the first time tonight with 4:15 to go in the first quarter. Pretty low scoring early on here, and you think that is what the Bulldogs want, as Lane Tech did put up over 70 last time they played, as Goonan misses the reverse layup, and Schurz with a chance to add to their lead here. Almost losing the ball, there's Abraham, and he will take things out. 3:55 as the quick 2 is good from Jones, and the Schurz offense is rolling here. 8-5. Excuse me, the 2 from Knighton, as he gets the 4 points. Thought Jones had the last fingers on that one. However, it will still be an 8-5 lead for the Bulldogs. Salibo pulls for 3, can't get it to go. Rebounded by Jones. Jones playing in the 5 role tonight for the Bulldogs. He took the tip off against Basil, and despite the height differential, lost, and that's been won, and since then it's kind of been the key of this game. Smaller team, but sure sticking to an early lead as the 2 quick is good from Abraham, and just rolling here from the Bulldogs. 10-5 to score with 3 minutes to play in the first quarter. Malloy pulls for 3, and he gets it. They will need Sean Malloy to be hot tonight if Lane Tech wants to get the win here. Mainly Salibo and Malloy have been the big contributors for Lane Tech all year long. We'll see if those 2 can do big things tonight. Arroyo with it, throws it out. Malloy almost got the steal. That's a ball you'd usually see him take off and run with. Instead, can't get 2 hands on it, but it will go out of bounds against a Schurz player, and it will be a mass timeout. So out of the timeout, it'll be Lane Tech basketball. 10-8 the score, 2:42 to go. So Schurz doing just what they would want to do out of the first 5:15 of play, as they have a 2-point lead over Lane Tech. We'll see how long that can stick out. This is what we said in the first quarter of that last game between Lane Tech and Schurz. It really looked as if the Bulldogs could hold with it. Second quarter, things start getting ugly, and then the second half, Lane Tech just rolled. We'll see if that is the common thing that happens tonight as well, but the Bulldogs can keep in this for more than a quarter. This could get interesting here in the first round of the Chicago Public League playoffs. Alex Burston on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. A lot of action going on across the city. We'll try to get you score updates from as many games as possible. Just looking at Twitter here early on tonight, looks as if Longwood has an early lead over Perspectives MSA. There's been a couple of changes, but that in the first round right now, as Lane Tech will look to tie this one or take the lead. 10-8 the score with 2.5. Malloy pulls for back-to-back 3s. Can't get it, though. And Arroyo unable to finish with the rebound. Nice offensive rebound here from Rosenkrantz. Lane Tech has played a lot better this year when they are having these second chances off of offensive rebounds. It seems most games are either really on a hot streak with them or they get none at all, as Jack Tsor throws it a little too far, or a little too low, I guess, for Basil. Jack Tsor checking into the game for Lane Tech at the mass timeout. The junior, who was in the starting lineup for most of the year, checked out about 2 weeks ago, and since then he has been one of the first guys off the bench for Lane Tech. Still a 10-8 Schurz lead with 2 minutes to go here in quarter number 1. Bulldogs slowing down the game, as we mentioned. They want this to be a slow-paced one, get it as low-scoring as possible. I don't know what the pace they want it, but you want it to be a at least a low-scoring game, as Soar will eat up the rebound here. Lane Tech looking once again to tie it. And Soar will have the long pass to an open Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz has made 1 3 from almost that same spot, I believe. However, decided not to go for it here. Going in for the layup. Can't score, though, is Harris. And Lane Tech will get it back. A lot of back and forth here for the last minute or so here at Lane Gymnasium. Jack Soar pulls for 3. Trying for his first points of the night and gets it. Lane Tech back in the lead, 11-10 here with just over a minute to play in quarter number 1. And a timeout is going to be called by James Shelton Jr. and the Schurz Bulldog. That is the first timeout of the night. All these folks didn't update the timeouts here, but they will have 4 left for the rest of the game. That was a 30-second timeout called by the Bulldogs. Jack Soar had one of his better games this year, at least scoring-wise, last time these two teams faced off. He had 8 points, and he has 3 here in the first quarter as Lane Tech takes back the lead 11-10 with 1:08 to go in the first frame of play. Schurz brought their cheerleaders here tonight. Really decent atmosphere here for the Public League playoffs. Lane Tech's student section has a blackout. Lane Tech student sections come out in pretty good numbers this year. Can't see them on the right side of your screen, but we'll just move it. And there on the far left, you can see they take up their part of the bleachers here tonight. 1:08 on the clock. Out of the timeout, looks like it will be Schurz basketball with about 3/4 of the court to go as Knighton inbounds it to Abraham. Those were the two guys we said to keep an eye out for in our pregame. They were both pretty decent against Lane last time, and now they're going to find an open Harris. He pulls for 2 off the mark. Second missed shot in a row for Harris, and Joseph Prona will pass it off. Joseph Prona and Parker Springer into the game for Lane Tech as Jack Soar hits another 3. He has 6 points in about 30 seconds, and Lane Tech's lead up to 4 here with under 40 seconds to play in quarter number 1. So is this the point we see Lane Tech pull ahead? We'll see. Rosenkrantz on the fast break. Can't get it to go. That will bounce off the hands, though, of Jones. And we'll have the first sub of the game for Schurz as number 5, Tyrese Larry, the 6'2 junior, small forward / power forward, 2-sport athlete, checks into the game. Played decently against Lane Tech last time as the 3 no good from Lane Tech, and Schurz. Obviously, Lane Tech scored the last couple of baskets, and 2 straight 3s from Jack Soar has given them the lead. However, this is definitely a close game as we near the end of the first quarter. 10 seconds on the clock. Looks like the Bulldogs will hold for one final shot if they can get one. Larry with it, finds an open Abraham. 3 seconds on the clock. Abraham drives in, goes up for 2, can't finish the putback from Larry, no good. And that will bring us to the end of 1 quarter of play, so Schurz, they were relying a lot on outside shots for most of the quarter. They drive in there but can't get it. We'll be back in just a second. You're watching Lane Tech basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. So Lane Tech will take the lead heading into the second 8 minutes of play. However, it is just a 4-point lead. The 6-seed Schurz leading just down by 4 against the 3-seed Lane Tech. The way the seeds work in this Chicago Public League tournament, broken up into 4 quadrants, and in each quadrant, teams are seeded 1 to 8. So in Lane Tech's quadrant, Clark is the 1 seed. Clark was playing well near the end of the season. They got that win over Lane Tech, and they wrap up a 1 seed after finishing second, I guess they'll say, in the Red Northwest. There was some confusions with forfeits and stuff, but Clark will get the 1 seed in this quadrant of the bracket, the 2 seed Curie, and then the 3 seed Lane Tech. As nice ball movement here from the Bulldogs, trying to cut this back to a 1-possession game. 7:40 to go in quarter number 2. As the 3 on its way, nothing but net. A beautiful shot there from Abraham. And now it's just a 1-point game. This is what we were talking about in the first quarter. Last time these two teams played, Schurz could not really carry the momentum into the second quarter. And after that three, looks like they may do it. And now Springer will check out of bounds. And Schurz will have another chance to take the lead. 7:22 to go in the first half. Lane Tech hasn't had the best luck as of recent in the first round of the city playoffs. 2 years ago, a big loss to Phillips as down low. Jones gets the 2 to go, and the Bulldogs back into the lead. 7 minutes and change to go in quarter number 2. So Lebo will check back into the game soon. Ethan Grunebaum's back in. He subbed in at the quarter break. So Perona, Grunebaum, Springer, Rosenkrantz, and Tsor, your 5 on the court here for Lane Tech. Rosenkrantz off balance 3, and Schurz will get it back here with the lead. 15-14, 6:40 to go in the first half. This one poorly thrown, and saving it will be Abraham, but it is a backcourt violation as Salibo checks into the game for Rosenkrantz. Rosenkrantz had a big 3 in the first quarter, but he'll head back to the bench. Grunebaum on point guard duties right now for Lane Tech. A minute and a half through here in the second quarter. They need Saliba to get hot if Lane Tech really wants to blow this one open, or at least get back the lead. Grunebaum driving, right-hand side, gets it to go. Looks like he hasn't missed a beat since the injury. And he gets Lane Tech back in the lead, 16-15, 6:10 to go in quarter number 2. Larry gets trapped, throws it off of Tsor, and they're going to say it goes off of either Tsor or Grunebaum there. And Schurz will get it back as Anthony Zanders checks into the game. First minutes of the game for Zanders there. Lane Tech going for man-to-man still here early on. Schurz had a guy they were subbing in. Scorers table thought they were going to let him in. Referees didn't want it, but Arroyo will check in at this time for Cortez. Both of those guys were in the, for Harris. Both of those guys were in the starting lineup for Schurz. However, Arroyo comes in for him as Larry, the one guy not in the starting lineup, playing right now for the Bulldogs. This one tipped away by Perona, but keeping the ball will be the Bulldogs. Grunebaum almost got a steal here. We've seen a lot here in the first 2 quarters of play. Lane Tech very close to getting steals. However, they just have not finished the ball to finish the job, as this will be another foul called on Lane Tech. After 2 early fouls for Lane Tech in the first 2.5 minutes, then it was then there was no fouls the rest of the quarter, and now they have an early one here with 5:53 to go in the first quarter. That was the the first foul called on Jack Tsor. On Joe Perona. 16-15 the score, 5:53 to go in quarter number 2. Lane Tech on top of the Bulldogs, but Schurz keeping this a close game here in the first round of the Chicago Public League playoffs. Tight defense here from Ethan Grunebaum and Zanders. And we'll see. It looks like Lane Tech might be going into a zone here, and they will. Looks to be maybe a 2-2-1 as down low and getting the 2 to go. No one saw him coming. There is Cortez. Cortez Harris, I thought he checked out of the game. I just checked right back in as he gets 2 to go, and now 17-16 the lead back up in the favor of the Bulldogs. They will call a jump ball possession arrow. Looked like it pointed towards Lane, and now they will say it stays Lane Tech possession. Thought they were pointing the other direction for a second, but Lane Tech will get it underneath their scoring basket. Zanders finds an open Grunebaum, who immediately has 2 defenders come on to him. Now they'll find an open Perona. Perona drives in despite the height mismatch, goes up for 2, and he'll get fouled. We'll head to the line to shoot a pair. 5:15 to go. So the last time these two teams met, Lane Tech rolled to a victory. Schurz did not have many free throws. It looks as if they just went a combined 1 for 3 from the line, as first free throw good from Perona to tie the game back up. Perona, a 2-sport athlete, a couple of his baseball teammates in the stands here tonight. Second free throw, no good, and we'll keep it locked at a tie game here. 5:13 to go in the first half. Steal here, Perona Pass was a little too high there from Springer, though, and he ran out of time. Usually Springer would have led Perona with that pass. However, Perona has to jump up to get it. And Lane Tech will keep possession but not get some quick points. An open Grunebaum. He pulls for three, gets it to go. Ethan Grunebaum pulls for three and gets it, and it's back up to a 3-point game. They only gave 2, so maybe his feet were on the line. We'll see if the scoreboard changes. I guess we'll put it at 19-17 here as the 3 on its way. No good from Knighton. So it looks as if Grunebaum might have had his feet on the line, and they will count it as a 2. So 4 points for him early on here tonight. Now he pulls for a 3 and gets it. Ethan Grunebaum is hot, and it's a 22-17 lead. I think that's the biggest of the night here for Lane Tech with 4:25 to go. Once Lane Tech hit their stride against the Bulldogs the first time, they were able to just run with it. We'll see if they can do that here in the second half of the second quarter. Schurz in no rush. Still just a 2-possession game here. So you definitely cannot count the Bulldogs out, especially with how they've been scoring early on here. As down low, Arroyo hits the easy 2. Looks as if it might roll its way out, but after a couple of trips around the rim, it'll drop in. 22-19, 3-point lead for Lane Tech. Zanders now pulls for 3, can't get it to go. And that one will be rebounded here by Harris. Harris on the fast break. Blocked by Saliba, though. First block of the night for Lane Tech, and 2 subs will come into the game for Lane Tech. Jones checks in for Arroyo, and Malloy and Goonan looks like they'll check in for Springer and Perona. So 3:42 to go, 22-19 the score. Looked as if Lane Tech might have a little bit of momentum there. Schurz was able to break it up with a basket and then a fast break. However, they're unable to score off of it with the block from Salibo. As you mentioned, Lane Tech really needs Salibo to step up in this one. They want to kind of break this one open, currently up by 3. The last time these two teams played, the leading scorer was Shahid Salibo. He had 17 to go along with 4 rebounds and 3 assists. So a little bit of everything from Salibo in that game. He has no points, but does have that big block here in tonight's game. As for Sean Malloy, he was quiet last time these two teams played, but he's got a couple of big matchups as of recent. He had 10 on Friday night against Northside, 15 against Whitney Young. So we'll see if Malloy, who just has 3 here early on tonight, can heat up his offense. Let's see who it will be. Schurz basketball underneath their scoring basket. Inbounding it for the Bulldogs is going to be Knighton here. Knighton just 2 points, but he's been a good presence with the ball in his hands here tonight. And a timeout is going to be forced to be called here by James Shelton Jr. and Schurz. So that is the second timeout called here by Schurz in just the first half of play. So it looks like they will have to go with 3 timeouts at the most heading into the second half of play, unless they have to call another one here. Lane Tech was just doing an excellent job with that inbound defense there, did not let anyone go. I think that was Abraham there who was running into the baseline to try to run in and out. Not sure if that's allowed. Refs didn't call anything, but it was a timeout forced to be called by the Bulldogs. And now we'll have one more shot at inbounding it here with 3:42 to go in quarter number 2. 3-pointer makes it a tie game. 2-pointer makes it a 1-point game. Lane Tech obviously hoping 0 points on the scoreboard here from the Bulldogs this possession. This time they're able to get it in easily as they get it out. The 3 on its way off the mark, rebounded by Goonan after a weird bounce. Salibo goes up for 2, can't finish on the rebound here from Schurz. So Schurz with another chance to cut into the Lane Tech lead here. 3:20 to go in quarter number 2. Fighting on the ground for it, and Grunebaum is going to call timeout right after they grabbed it. So a lot of timeouts here in the first half of play. That's going to be the third one called between these two teams to go along with, I think we missed a mass timeout because the timeout was called by Schurz, but to go along with 1 mass timeout and now 3 from the two teams, 1 from Lane Tech and 2 for Schurz. Looked as if head coach Nicholas Legalbo was fine with Grunebaum calling the timeout there, as Lane Tech did not want to lose possession. And now they'll have the chance to bring it up the length of the court, up by 3 here, with 3:18 to go here in quarter number 2. Alex Burston on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. First round of the Chicago Public League playoffs. Don't have any more score updates from any of the other games, but 16 games tonight to see who advances to the second round, and then 8 games tomorrow night to see who will make the Elite 8 of the city bracket. 3:10 to go. Lane Tech with the basketball and the lead here in the first half of play. Salibo wasn't able to score that last time. They've kept him to 0 points. Sanders down low, but he gets his first points. So Schurz has done a good job of guarding the top scorers for Lane Tech and keeping them off the scoreboard, but Lane Tech has found ways to score through other players. This was kind of Lane Tech's strategy against Whitney Young. They shut down guys like A.J. Casey. However, the Dolphins were able to find their scoring in different ways, and now that's what Lane Tech looks to do here with 2.5 to play and in the first half and the lead against the Bulldogs. This one tipped out of bounds by Ethan Grundebaum, and Jack Shore will check into the game for Ethan Grundebaum. I believe the season high for Shore is 8 points. I can check on that quickly. Yeah, I don't have him recorded for anything there, any more than that. So he's a basket away from matching that season high, as wide open under the basket is Larry. And it's a 3-point game once again. Bulldogs not going away early in this one. We'll see with some second half adjustments who's going to have the advantage for the second 16 minutes of play. Sanders gets it to Soar. We've seen he has a hot hand tonight. Instead passes it to a wide open Salibo, and they are going to call a blocking foul on Tyrese Larry for the Bulldogs. First foul on the night for him, third foul for Schurz. Still a pretty clean first half. Looks like neither team's going to get into the bonus, even with all the timeouts. Because of that, it's been a somewhat fast-paced game, 30 minutes into this contest. As nice ball movement here, they find an open Soar. He pulls for 3 and gets it. 9 points on the night for Jack Soar. That's a season high, and it is a 6-point lead for Lane Tech over the Bulldogs with just under 2 to play in the first half. Lane Tech could easily stretch this into a double-digit lead heading into the locker room if they can get a stop or two here and some shots. Arroyo will check back in for the Bulldogs soon, as down low they find Jones. He goes up for 2, can't finish, gets his own rebound, goes up for 2, can't finish again, but he will head to the line to shoot a pair. 8 points tonight for him. That is the leading scorer for Schurz, second leading for all teams, just behind the 9 from Jack Soar, who picks up his first foul. As first free throw, no good. As we mentioned, Jones had 16 last year against Lane, as checking into the game is going to be Cortez Harris for Larry. So he has 8 in the first half, Jones does, so he's on pace to match that performance from last year. Second free throw on its way, that one is good, so he goes 1 for 2 from the line, and it's a 5-point Lane Tech lead. Under 90 seconds to play here in quarter number 2. Sanders wide open, pulls for 3, can't get it to go. Doesn't make that shot, but Lane Tech's had a lot of open looks from beyond the perimeter. Haven't hit on all of them, but they have been able to hit on some, and that's a big part of why they have this lead here in the end of the second half. 68 seconds to decide who takes the lead heading into the locker room. This one tipped away from Sanders. Nice defensive effort, but he cannot get the tipped ball, and it will stay Schurz's possession. Once again, they can cut it to a one-possession game with either a 2 or a 3 here in this possession. Once again, inbounding struggles here for the Bulldogs. However, they get it to Jones, who has 9 points, tied for the leading scorer on either team. 54 seconds. Looks like Schurz might try to hold for one final shot. That wouldn't give them the lead, but it would make it a one-possession game if they're able to score here heading into the locker room, which is, other than a lead, the best possible result for Schurz. It was a 40-point win for Lane Tech the last time these two teams played. Looks as if that's not going to be the case here in the city playoffs. Schurz playing their heart out as the runner, no good, rebounded by Goonan. And they're going to say goes off of the Bulldogs. Lane Tech will get possession back. So looked as if they were going to hold for one final shot, rush it a little too soon, and Lane Tech will get the basketball back with 27 seconds left and counting. So Lebo bring the ball up the court, and now I think it's pretty safe to say Lane Tech will hold for one final shot. So Lebo, who has been shut out scoring-wise in the first half, just dribbling it here for Lane Tech. So Lebo pulls up for two, gets it to go. So they can't keep him scoreless for the whole half. And player shot no good from Abraham, and that will bring us to the end of one half of play, 29-22. So Lane Tech not with a commanding lead, but they'll take a 3-possession lead heading into the halftime break here over the Schurz Bulldogs. We'll see if Lane Tech has a big halftime talk from head coach Nicholas Legalbo, and if they can pull away in the second half, or if Schurz has a second half comeback in them. They kept it close for the first 2 quarters, and we'll see what they can do in the second 16 minutes of play. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to recap the first half of action and get you ready for the second half of play here at Lane Gymnasium. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Tech basketball here on the Lane Tech Athletics YouTube channel. Halftime here at Lane Gymnasium, 29-22 the score, so Lane Tech, the favorite in this one, has the lead, but it's a lot closer than they would have expected and a lot closer than they would have liked. Schurz really sticking in this one, a lot in part to number 23, Tyshawn Jones. He has 9 points to lead all scores, tied with Jack Soar, who has 9 for Lane Tech. Those two, both of them juniors, having big impacts here for Lane Tech. I mean, Schurz has not played bad here. They've struggled recently in games. They have not won a game since January 7th, as we said in our open, but this does not look like a 6-win team. Obviously, they only put up 22.5, but they kept Lane Tech from scoring 30 points, which is something Lane Tech's done somewhat routinely here. They've struggled as of recent scoring-wise, but Lane Tech's able to score more than 30.5, unable to do that here as we reach the 5-minute mark in halftime, and Lane Tech is going to need some big second half adjustments here if they want to take the win. I mean, obviously they can play like they did and probably still get the win, but if they want to have a more convincing win, the other thing to keep in mind for Lane Tech, if they win tonight, they have another game tomorrow night against Curie. It's going to be less than a 24-hour turnaround. By the end of this, it'll probably be about a 22.5-hour turnaround between games. And if they are have to have their top guys, they have to have Sean Malloy and Shahid Salibo play all 4 quarters, that's going to be dangerous because they will not have fresh legs heading into tomorrow night's matchup. Last game, it was able to be 4th quarter, new roster for Lane Tech. They were playing with their bench. I believe it was running clock for the entire 4th quarter, so it was a quicker game. And looks like that might not be the case here in the second half, depending on how Lane Tech comes out of the break. I believe it'll be Schurz basketball after this halftime break. Still 4 minutes to go, so lots of basketball going around the area here in the first round of the Chicago Public League Boys Basketball Tournament. We don't have many scores updates. Apologies for that. The only one I'm seeing, Michael O'Brien from the Sun-Times, had an early update from the Longwood versus Perspectives MSA game. That's also in this bracket, so that's something to look for. But Longwood with the early 15-7 lead. Longwood's had some good games, I believe, so far this year. They get the 4 seed, so they're actually seeded below Lane Tech. But, I mean, Clark's been really strong as of recent, but if Longwood's able to hold on with that win over Perspectives MSA, and assuming Clark wins tonight, that could be an interesting round 2 matchup. The 1 seeds across all 4 quadrants in the CPL tournament, it'll be Whitney Young, Simeon, Clark, and Kenwood going clockwise from the top left of the bracket. So all 4 of those teams have a chance to do some damage. Whitney Young, they've had an interesting season. They didn't play great against Lane Tech. They pulled away in the second half. They obviously have all the players, but, I mean, the Red South Central has just been so good this season. It's almost a shoo-in that Simeon's going to be playing in the Final Four. Curie in the 2 seed is really insane, just how good they've been. I would definitely put Curie over Clark. I know this is based strictly on standings. However, it looks like there's a pretty decent chance that Curie and Clark will be in the quarterfinals in the bottom right of the bracket, and I would definitely choose Curie in that game. So that's 2 Red South Central teams. Kenwood Orr would be a good game in the quarterfinals, but Kenwood, they just seem to be the better team. That's 3. And then the biggest top quadrant was probably going to be that top left quadrant with Whitney as the 1 seed. That would be Whitney versus Hyde Park if all the top seeds win in the quarterfinals. And we'll see what happens with that one. But Hyde Park's been playing well, so there's a chance the Red South Central puts 4 teams in the semifinals. We'll see what happens, though, in the next week or so. The third round of the playoffs will be on Tuesday. The second round is tomorrow, first round today. I'm not sure after that. I believe it'll be either Thursday or Friday for the semis, and then maybe Saturday for the final. I'll need to check on that. I believe the final's on the 12th. That's both the teams will head to their benches. Lane Tech first, and then Schurz, assuming that is going to be the starting 5, and we'll see it on the bench here for Lane Tech. So to start off the second half, it'll be Lucas Basil, Ethan Grunebaum, Shahid Salibo, Sean Malloy, and Stephen Goonan, the starting 5 for Lane Tech. Jack Soar, as we mentioned, had 9 points in the first quarter. However, he will not start off the second half in the lineup. I mean, you can assume he's trying to get back into the starting lineup. Was in the starting lineup for most of the season before, as we mentioned, leaving it a couple of weeks ago. Now he's been one of the first guys off the bench, but we'll see what he does here off the bench in the second half. Season high right now with 9 points. We'll see who breaks the huddle as the starting five for the Bulldogs. It'll be Schurz basketball to start off the second half, going from left to right across your screen. Lane Tech will be going from right to left once they get the basketball this quarter. And looks like we're ready for second half play here in the first round of the Chicago Public League City Boys Basketball Tournament. So it'll be Harris, Knighton, Abraham, Jones, and missing one here, and Arroyo. So the same five for Schurz here as an early turnover here from Schurz. That one wasn't even forced by Lane Tech. Schurz just rolled it out of bounds, it seems, and Lane Tech with a chance here to get it. They could get it to a double-digit lead, which would be big for them. Up by 7 right now. 3 balls been off and on today as Salido pulls for 3. Can't get the bounce in. He's had a couple shots. This team has had a couple shots this year where just looks like it's not going in, takes a weird bounce, and then goes in. However, that's not the case here, but Lane Tech will get it back after a quick turnover. Both teams still looking for their first points of the half here. 7:39 to go in quarter number 3. Lane Tech, the 3 seed in this quadrant of the CPL tournament. Basil down low, goes up for 2, misses it. Basil scored the first 2 points of the game, but since then he has been quiet. Whenever he gets the ball, like you just saw there, he just gets completely surrounded by Schurz players despite this height advantage. He has just 2 points here tonight. This will have the long ball out to Shahid Salibo. Under 7.5 to play in quarter number 3. Leroy, who's been quiet tonight, gets it down low to Basil, fighting for it, and they are going to call a foul. So that will be the first foul of the half here called by the referees, and it will go against the Schurz Bulldogs. 7:20 to go. I believe they called a foul. I don't think a ref came over to the scores table, so we'll see. Still 0 fouls right now for both teams, so maybe they called a violation or something by Schurz as the 3 on its way. Salibo 0 for 2 out of the gate here in the second half with 3-point shooting. And Schurz will have another chance to bite into this 7-point lead. They had a chance to make it a 1-possession game at the end of the first half. However, they roughed their final shot. Lane Tech got it back and were able to score. And this one will go off of Lane Tech. Still a pretty low-scoring game, just a 7-point lead for Lane. No one to score here early on as Jones hits the 2. And he becomes the first player this afternoon to get into double digits. They are going to need a lot from him if they want to pull off this upset. He has 11 here with 6:40 to go in quarter number 3. Salibo pulls for 3, can't get to go. That's 3 shots from almost the exact same point, and he has missed all of them here. And now it is just a 5-point game, and once again, Schurz has possession, and Schurz has a chance to make this a 1-possession game. Just 5 points now, the lead for Lane Tech with under 90 seconds to go, with 90 seconds through in the third quarter. So this is what we were talking about in the first half. It'll be interesting to see which team comes out hotter out of the locker room, as the 3 is good there from Knighton, and looks like that team might be Schurz. Just a 2-point game here. Salibo's missed 3 threes here to start off the quarter for Lane Tech, as now Grunebaum will pull for 3 and gets it. A response 3 there from Ethan Grunebaum to push Lane Tech past the 30-point mark. They score for the first time tonight, and it's a 5-point lead for Lane with 5:50 to go. Schurz obviously staying in this one early on. Winner in this one likely gets a date with Curie tomorrow night on the south side. Jones backing out, has that. He's been guarded by Basil. That's a tough assignment, but he's done great with it. 11 points for him. Arroyo gets Salibo jumping. Now they'll find an open perimeter. Harris is just out there waiting. He was open. They'll finally get out to him, but not before Goonan comes on. Lane Tech with a man-to-man defense right here. Schurz taking some quality seconds off the clock. We saw this work for Northside against Lane Tech on Friday. First half, they were really able to control the pace of the game, get some long possessions, and that's exactly what worked. Driving in, going up for two. Harris can't finish. Arroyo gets the rebound now. An open three, no good from Abraham. Fighting for a third chance, won't get it. Oh, they might have got it. We'll see what the foul is called. It called against Schurz. Almost Jones punts that one out. That would have been a big possession there. And instead it will be the second foul called on Jones. So first foul of the half called on either team. And Lane Tech looking to build up this 5-point lead. They led by 7 at the half, so they want to at least get back to that 7-point lead. Malloy can make it 8, and he will. So Grunenbaum hits a 3, and then his partner in crime, Sean Malloy, hits a 3. And it's a 35-27 lead for Lane Tech with 4.5 to go in quarter number 3. You'd think Schurz really wants a response here. A lot of this game has just been trading back and forth momentum between the two teams. If you're Schurz and you're kind of falling into this bigger deficit, you don't want that. You want to have at least a little stretch where the momentum's all yours and you can score a couple of quick baskets. As tight man-to-man defense here from Lane Tech will have the first subs into the half soon for Lane Tech. Jack Soar and Will Rosenkrantz. Under 4 to play now. Schurz continuing with these long possessions here in the third quarter. A double screen gets Abraham open, finds an open Harris. He pulls for 3 off mark. You could tell that one was a little bit too far from the right as soon as they touched it. As he shot it, and it will be a mass timeout on the floor. So 3:45 to score, the time left in the third quarter. It's a 1-point bigger lead at the halfway third quarter mark for Lane Tech. They were up by 7 at halftime. Now they're up by 8. 3:45 to go, but Schurz just hanging around in this one. Looked like they had a chance to kind of cut this to a one-possession game, but Lane Tech had some lucky balls fall. Grunenbaum hit a 3 and Malloy hit a 3. But really just no one's really stepping up for Lane Tech in this one. Jack Zor had 9. He'll be checking back into the game after this timeout. So, we could see him maybe carrying this team, getting to double digits, but the next highest score is Grunenbaum with 11. Grunenbaum is back in the lead. He just came out, but he had 8 at halftime, and he hit that 3. So I guess he actually passes Jack Soar. He has 11 points now, tied with Jones on Schurz, who also has 11. So Grunenbaum is scoring actually a lot more easier than he has in past games early on here tonight, but he will take a seat on the bench here with 3:45 to go in quarter number 3. Lane Tech with an 8-point lead, and out of the timeout, it is going to be possession for the Bulldogs. That was just a mass timeout, so they called it at the first dead ball. Neither team charged with a timeout. Lane Tech has 4 timeouts, Schurz with just 3 after calling 2 in the first half as they get the bullet inbound pass here to Harris. Harris goes up for 2, can't get it, and rebounded by Salibo. It just went right into Salibo's hands, and they are going to call a foul on Schurz. So second team foul of the half here for the Bulldogs. It was a very clean, the third team foul, as charged with the foul is going to be Harris there. So neither team got even close to the bonus as Salibo down low misses it. It was going to go off of Schurz, but Heath Salibo struggling here tonight. As we mentioned, had a career high at the time of 17 in the first game against the Bulldogs. However, early on here tonight, he has been struggling. Early on in the second half, as a steal here, wide open Abraham. He goes up for 2 and gets it. Back to a 6-point game here. So even if Lane Tech is able to pull off the win here, this is definitely not how you would like to start off the city playoffs. 3 minutes to go in quarter number 3. Salibo has missed 3 from that exact spot. Make it 4 here in the third quarter. Just really struggling to get the ball through the basket here early on tonight. Down low. Pass it back out. 2:48 to go, and a travel will be called on Abraham. So this opportunity there from Schurz to cut it to a full-point game. Looked like they had some momentum heading to the basket. But Lane Sack will get it back still with this 6-point lead. Checking into the game soon for Lane Sack will be Perona and Springer. Jack Soar thinks about the three, instead drives the baseline. This one goes off the hands of Larry into the game for Schurz. And Lane Sack will keep possession, so Perona and Springer come in for Basil, and one more guy took a seat on the bench, I believe. Oh, and Salibo. So Salibo, who's been struggling to score, heads to the bench. Soar has been hot from three. Can't make it 4 threes this game, though, as he misses it, and Schurz gets it back. In transition, they slow things down. There's not been a lot of fast break points or really fast possessions for Schurz. They've mainly been scoring off of long possessions where they kind of just work all the lane players around. Lane Sack in a zone right now, almost looks like a box one. Or maybe they're just standing that way. I can't really tell if it's a man-to-man or zone here, but they've been going back and forth this game, and there's going to be an offensive foul call there on Schurz, so that will be another foul called on the Bulldogs. And Lane Sack will get it back there. Foul was called on Knighton, his first, the team's third of the half here. So I think we add one extra foul for Schurz as Perona misses the three and Schurz gets it back. Lane Sack has had a couple of chances here in the last minute to break this one open. However, they haven't been making their shots. This has been a struggle for this team. It's against Whitney Young. They could shoot it in the first half, and then they just quieted down in the second half. Nothing was falling. The same storyline here in the first round of the Public League playoffs against the Bulldogs. Alex Burson on the call here from Lane Gymnasium. Abraham trying to drive left-hand side, instead gives it out to his point guard duo, Abraham. Perona trying to force a steal. Can't get it. Knighton doing a good job keeping the basketball here. 1:16 to go. 6-point lead for Schurz here in the third quarter. Driving, Larry wide open down low, can't finish. A blown chance there by Schurz. Perona just stays in bound. The pass almost intercepted, and Rosenkrantz will hit the two. That one looked just like a football pass. Bounced off a couple of defenders right into the hands of Rosenkrantz, and the lead up to 8 here for Lane Sack with 50 seconds and counting in quarter number 3. JV will start their playoff run for Lane Sack, I believe, after this one, as the short two no good. As we mentioned, the games were supposed to be played yesterday, as a turnover here right into the hands of Rosenkrantz. So Rosenkrantz gets it after scoring the quick two. And Lane Sack with a bucket here can make it a double-digit lead heading into the fourth quarter. 23 seconds on the clock. Nothing like what the first game entailed between these two teams, but Lane Sack set to take a big lead heading into the fourth quarter, especially if they can make a final shot here. 10 seconds. Soar will try to get to Rosenkrantz. Instead takes himself, and they're going to call a carry there. So with 6.7 seconds left, Schurz with a chance, then that you think can change the momentum of this game. There's a couple subs into the game here for Schurz. First appearance of the game for Joshua Kincaid, the senior small forward slash power forward. 4 seconds on the clock. 2 seconds as might run out of time. Throwing up a last second shot is Knighton. And that was just a poorly handled final possession for Schurz. They had a chance with a 3. They cut it to a 5-point game, but they really just did not seem to have control of the time. They ran into a place where there was a bunch of Lane Sack defenders, and it will be an 8-point Lane Sack lead heading into the fourth quarter. We'll be back in just a second. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Lane Sack basketball here on Lane Sack Athletics YouTube channel. So it was a 7-point Lane Tech lead at the end of 2 quarters of play. It's an 8-point lead at the end of 3. Schurz did a good job of keeping Lane Tech from breaking this one open. However, Lane Tech will take the lead, and the somewhat big lead, 3 or 4 possessions, heading into the final 8 minutes. Ethan Grunebaum into the game for Lane Tech to go along with Perona, Rosenkrantz, Springer, and Soar. As Lane Tech gets possession here to start off the 4th quarter. Perona with the floater, can't get it to go, and that will go off of Perona, just into the face of the referee. And getting it back is going to be Schurz here with a chance to make this a 5 or 6 point game here with 7:46 to go in quarter number 4. Winner of this one advances to the second round of the Chicago Public League playoffs. Loser will take a break for at least a couple games. Lane Tech has a game scheduled for Saturday, and Schurz has they might have one scheduled for tomorrow, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they have one scheduled for tomorrow against Brooks. So both these teams have backup plans if they don't keep on going in the Chicago Public League tournaments. But Schurz on the verge of a couple baskets and making this an upset. They would have to cancel that game if they get the win here, as a violation called here. Not an off-the-ball foul, but Schurz will get it back. Excuse me, Lane Tech will get it back with no damage done by Schurz here with 7:10 to go. I don't think Lane Tech has gotten it to a double-digit lead here in the game, as Grunebaum gets the long pass from Soar. Now Perona cutting up the middle. The big man, Springer, throws up the 3, can't get it, and rebounded here by Larry. Tight full court press here from Schurz, from Lane Tech, and the jump ball is forced. Schurz will get it back, but they used up the jump ball there, and some good defense from Lane Tech. So 6:50 to go here, quarter number 4. As Knighton will bring up the court, tries to drive to the basket. He gets fouled in pursuit. Knighton's been kind of quiet tonight, just 5 points from him, 7 from Abraham. So not super big games from either of them, just 12 from the duo. As trying to extend that lead is going to be Knighton at the free throw line to shoot 2. That is just the first foul committed all half by Lane Tech. They went that entire third quarter without committing a single foul. As Knighton's going to take a couple of dribbles, goes up for 2 and can't get to go, goes around the rim and out. So now one more shot for Knighton, and if you're Schurz, you really are going to want a couple of these free throws back, especially if they get more in the 4th quarter. You have to make all of these in such a close game, as second one no good as well, and Lane Tech will get the rebound. So missed opportunity. That could have been a 6-point game after it. Now it is an 8-point game still after the 2 free throw misses from Knighton, as Rosenkrantz is going to get called for a travel. Just some mistakes here for Lane Tech. If they get the win tonight, those will definitely not fly tomorrow evening against Curie. 6.5 to play, quarter number 4. Lane Tech not playing super tight defense. They have the lead, so they don't need to force a lot of turnovers here, but James Saliba will check into the game soon for Lane Tech, going to the basket and scoring is Harris. What a move there. Somehow just the second basket of the night for him. He's been super impressive. I guess hasn't gotten a lot of baskets, but he's been good, as the 3 in response from Ethan Grunebaum is good. Lane Tech hits the 40-point mark, and a timeout is going to be called, a full timeout called by Coach James Shelton Jr. for Schurz. 40-31, 5:59 to go. A couple more of those, and that could be the dagger for Lane Tech as they try to advance to the second round of the Chicago Public League playoffs. As I mentioned, Schurz is going to be going down to the white division, after white conference, I should say, after this season. They'll be in the white north for the 2022-2023 season, which will start up in November. It was a good run for Schurz. 2 years ago, they really dominated in the white north. They went 19-11, 8-1 in conference in 2019-2020. They actually won their first round of the city tournament against Brooks, but then lost to Whitney Young. They're trying to win another first-round matchup here, but running out of time, down by 9 here with just under 6, 5:59 to go in quarter number 4. The timeout was called there by Schurz, however. They were the first ones to leave and go to back to the court. It'll be Schurz basketball with the length of the court to go and a tight full court pressure here from the Lane Tech defense, as Malloy gets the steal, goes up for two, and he gets fouled. Malloy with 6 points. He'll head to the line to shoot 2. Ethan Grunebaum has been the star tonight for Lane Tech. 13 points for him, 9 from Jack Soar, who's not on the court right now, but those two, the two leading scorers for Lane Tech. As Malloy makes the first one. He was off and on free throw shooting for a couple of games, but as of recent, he has been very consistent from the line for Lane Tech. As Malloy with one more chance at it here, spins the basketball, throws up the free throw, and gets it 2 for 2 from the line there. And Lane Tech's lead up to 11, the biggest it's been today here, with 5:54 to go. Harris breaks it all by himself, goes up for 2, misses it. Gain it back is Lane Tech. And another missed scoring opportunity here from Schurz. Now Schurz gets it back, so a lot of back and forth ball here with 5:40 to go in the game, and this one is going to be called a foul on Lane Tech, so Schurz will keep possession here. Just the second foul call all half long on Lane Tech, 4 on the Bulldogs. .5:32 to go, quarter number 4 of play here in the Public League playoffs. Salibo trying to force the steal, he gets it. Not sure who actually punched that ball out, but Salibo comes up with it, and they're going to say this one goes off of Schurz, so Lane, I think they're saying it went off of Lane Tech. No, now they're saying it's Lane Tech basketball. Salibo's just continues his struggle scoring the basketball here tonight for Lane Tech. But luckily Lane will have another shot at it, and now they change it. So it originally looked like they were giving the basketball to Lane Tech, and now the referees say it is Schurz basketball. So down by 11, Schurz will have another chance to cut into lead here with 5:15 to go in quarter number 4 of action. The Bulldogs looking for a last-minute comeback here at Lane Gymnasium. Not a super big crowd on hand here for some Public League hoops. A couple of fans and students came out for Lane Tech with under 5 to go on this Battle of Addison Street. Just a couple of miles separate these two schools on Addison. Lane Tech won last year's game against Schurz. They really won the regular season game between these two, and they're hoping to wrap up a playoff victory against the Bulldogs here, as this would be the 3rd win in the calendar year for Lane Tech over Schurz. Harris going up for 2, can't get it, and Grundebaum will push the pace for Lane Tech, who can get the lead to 13. The reverse layup is good. 15 here for Ethan Grundebaum tonight. Another timeout will be called by Schurz. They just have one last left tonight, and Lane Tech is hitting their stride when they need it. Biggest lead of the night at 13 with 4:23 to go in the 4th quarter. So Ethan Grundebaum, after getting a small injury in the game, I believe that was against Clark, was not able to play in probably the best atmosphere of the year for Lane Tech against Whitney. Had limited minutes on his own senior night, and now he is stepping up when Lane Tech needs him most. 15 points to lead all scores, and a big part of why Lane Tech has gotten this lead, they have held number 23, Tyshawn Jones of Schurz, to just 2 points here in the second half. He had 9 through the first 3, for the first 2. He had 16 last year when these two teams played, so looks like there was a chance he was even going to break that against Lane Tech here. It was pretty quiet the last time these two teams played, but had a good start to this one, and now they've kept him quiet, and that has been a big part of why Lane Tech now up to a 13-point lead with 4:23 to go in quarter number 4. After this, as I mentioned, the JV team will be taking on, I believe it's the Schurz JV. I know the brackets have been kind of fluid here in the Chicago Public League of teams going in and out, but originally it was Lane Tech versus Schurz varsity and Lane Tech versus Schurz Junior Varsity. So we'll see what the matchup there is to see who advances to the second round in the Junior Varsity playoffs. 44-31 the score. It will be Schurz basketball, and they need the basket quick. Haven't scored in a little bit and are down by 13 here. We'll have a mass timeout coming up soon, but almost halfway through the fourth and final quarter of play here at Lane Gymnasium. Knighton gives it off to Abraham. Those two have combined for 12 here tonight. One more combined than their teammate Jones, but as we said, he just has 2 points here in the second half, partially because he's playing in that big man role and has to be guarded by the tallest player for Lane Tech right now, Parker Springer. 3:50 to go. This kind of strategy we've seen all second half from Schurz with these long possessions. However, they're running out of time here, down by 13. Going to the basket and missing it is Knighton, and Lane Tech will push it up the court. Despite the lead, Lane Tech still playing at a pretty fast pace. They're letting Schurz take the seconds off the clock, and then they're just running their regular offense here with under 3.5 to play in quarter number 4. Down low, they're going to call a travel there on Springer. I guess he took a step too early. Jack Sorb will check in after the break. But first, there's a mass timeout. 3:24 to go in quarter number 4. It'll be Schurz basketball out of the timeout, but Schurz has just in this second half, when they have the opportunities for sports, they have just not been able to convert on them. Down by 13 here, they would need a couple baskets, and even harder, they would need a couple of stops of this Lane Tech offense that has kind of hit this stride here. It's still going to be a somewhat low-scoring game for Lane Tech. They could hit the 50-point mark with a couple of matchups, but after their offense really hit the hottest point we've seen in a couple of years, that was through the Main East Holiday Tournament and then just outside the tournament in those first couple of games. They were really scoring well, but since then, they put up 44 against Westinghouse, 59 against Orr, 56 to Clark, 38 to Whitney Young. They had 58 against Northside in the win, but just in that 4-game losing streak, the offense found its struggles, and they now just putting up 44 against a Schurz team that only has 6 wins on the season. That's definitely something of concern for Lane Tech as they enter the most important part of the season. I mean, they're in the most important part, but obviously state is a little bit more important for this team. It'll be Schurz basketball with 3/4 of the court to go here in quarter number 4 of action. 3:20 to go. Schurz just has 1 timeout left, so even if they use it, looks like we could be in for a kind of quick final couple of minutes. Schurz could even get close, but they're just not going to have a lot of means of stopping the clock. Just 4 fouls for them as well, so they're a ways away from getting Lane into the bonus as Zanders tries to finish the tip-in, no good. Salibo tries 2 times to get it, can't. Now a 3rd chance, passes out to Zanders. Zanders for 3, he gets it. Anthony Zanders' 2nd field goal of the night. He has 5, and Lane Tech is just rolling here, now up by 16 with 2:45 to go, as looks like Lane is going to book their spot in the second round of the playoffs, where they're likely to play Curie. However, Dunbar could always pull off the upset as Arroyo pulls for 3, can't get to go. A lot of these Schurz shots, you just see it curving a little too far from the right or the left, just right off the hands from our angle here. Just having struggle with that straight 3 ball as jump ball is going to be called. Possession arrow points towards Lane Tech as Hayden Matthews will check into the game for Sean Malloy. Matthews, the senior, will check in. He had 7 on Friday night against Northside. Has been a late game 3-point threat for Lane Tech all season long as he runs around the perimeter. He's going to pull for 3. His first shot, no good. And Schurz will get it back here, trailing by 16, 2:10 to go. Salibo forces the steal, now gets it. Almost looked like Lane gave it right back to Schurz. Now Tsor in transition. They're going to call a travel on Tsor. So Lane Tech's had a couple of travels here in the game. Looked like Stewart did not think he traveled there, but refs will disagree, and Schurz will get it back. Running out of time here. They need a couple of quick baskets, but looks as if Lane Tech is ready to call this one a victory as the missed shot here And they're starting to put their bench in as Lorenzo Aquino will check in for Lane Sack. Larry checks in for Arroyo here as Aquino checks in for Solivo. A quiet night for Solivo. He finishes with just 2 points. Not his best performance, but doesn't matter as Lane Tech racks up the playoff win. 1:52 to go in quarter number 4. Under 2 minutes to play. Matthews gets it to Aquino. Aquino probably going to be one of the top point guards on this team next season. Atsur pulls for 3 and gets it. 12 for him. And I'm not sure, this might be a career high for him. I don't remember him scoring into the double digits at all last season for Lane Tech. So he had 8 last time these two teams match up, and now he is up to 12. As Lane Tech hits the 50-point mark with 80 seconds to play in quarter number 4. 15 for Ethan Grunebaum to go along with 12 for Jack Tsor, the 2 leading scorers for either team. And Schurz is going to keep possession as Giuliano DiFranco checks into the game for Parker Springer. So a couple subs getting in some late game action. Carson Spencer will also check in momentarily for Lane Sack. 1:06 to go in quarter number 4. Down low, going up for 2. Jones can't get it to go. The second chance, no good, but they will call a blocking foul on Lane Sack. And Jones will head to line to shoot 2. Slowly walking to the line. Can't tell if it's an injury or if it's just walking slowly. As he said, just 2 points here in the second half for him. Neither team's going to get into the bonus. That was the 3rd foul on Lane Tech. It was called on number 12, Hayden Matthews, his first, the team's 3rd. As the first free throw gets the bounce and goes in. So Schurz finally gets back on the scoreboard as Tommy Stone will check into the game alongside Carson Spencer as Anthony Sanders and Jack Tsor check out. They end their nights. 12 points for Jack Tsor. He was really impressive tonight. As the second free throw, good. So 2 for 2 from the line here from Jones. Schurz trying to get some final points here as they end their city playoff run in the first round. Lane Tech able to give some of their juniors and bench some playing time here at the end of the game. Under 50 to play. The steal here, Harris trying to go coast to coast. Harris was really impressive tonight, just was not able to find his way to the basket or into the basket a lot. As down low, Jones goes up for 2 and gets it. So he's going to end with 15 at least, which will be tied for the game high with Ethan Grunebaum. Just not enough for Schurz. The steal forced no good on the shot and rebounded here from Spencer. With 20 seconds to go, and looks like Lane Tech will probably just dribble it out here. They get it to DiFranco down low. Stone gets his pass intercepted, but Stone gets it back and finishes with the 2. That may be the first points of the season for Tommy Stone, and that is just about going to do it. The late shot is good there from Knighton, but it won't matter, and that is just going to do it. It was a 3-pointer from Knighton, but Lane Tech gets the win, 52-38. It was a struggle. They were not able to pull away by as much as they would have liked to, but they still end with a 14-point victory. 15 from Ethan Grunebaum, 12 from Jack Tsor, the 2 double-digit scores from Lane Tech. As they cruise to the second round, it was 15 for number 23 Jones, TG Jones, Tyshawn Jones for the Schurz Bulldogs, but not enough. He had 15 combined from his teammates Knighton and Abraham, but 30 points from those 3, 8 from the rest of the team as Schurz falls in the first round of the playoffs. Lane Tech will advance to the second round where they'll face off against either Curie or Dunbar. Don't have any score updates from that game. It's a 2-7 matchup, so Curie enters as the big favorite, but anything can happen. But wherever that game is, whatever time it is, we'll have the broadcast. That will be tomorrow night, likely at 5 p.m. Make sure to check the Lane Tech Hoops Twitter for any updates on that game. But that's just about going to do it for us tonight. We weren't sure what was going to happen after the first half of play, but Lane Tech's defense and offense come alive in the final 12 minutes to close this one out. Your final score here from the first round of the Chicago Public League playoffs, Lane Tech 52, Schurz 38. My name's Alex Burstein. Good night.